Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Hey Rockstar. I am your host, Josafat Emiliano, and Miguel, my faithful compadre, is right here as always. Welcome, welcome. It is Thursday. We love Thursdays, especially around this part of the world, because that's when you get to check out Hey Rockstar live. Every Thursday at 5:55, we're bringing to you value that you can take, apply it to your disciplines, so that you then can go and become the rock star of your industry. Whew, this is episode 40. Can you believe that? We're at 40 already. Episode 40, and it's random thoughts about death and life. Before we get started, let me ask you to do me one small favor. If this is your first time, go ahead and do the thing, the like, the subscribe, the share. It does help us out. It helps spread the word. We are slowly growing, and we are just getting excited that we get to reach more and more. Thank you for those of you who tuned in last week for a phenomenal show with my guest, Andrew Holt. And all of my guests that come in are just phenomenal, and I have a really good surprise for you guys coming up next week. This week, intentionally, though, I wanted to take today off from a guest because I wanted to share with you something. And I just wanted time to get to talk to you. Although Mondays now also, oh yes, I forgot to say that. Also Mondays, I have short clips, or not short clips, but I have shorter episodes called minisodes, Hey Rockstar minisodes. And it's just basically 11 minutes of random rant that I like to give to you guys so that you guys can have some more one-on-one, because I miss talking to you guys since I've been having a lot of guests come up. However, I wanted to talk to you today about death and life. Let me take a swig of this. Today is a busy day for me. Today we have have a meeting immediately after this, and then I have another video call later on today. It's just swamp after things. However, I wanted to share. First of all, thank you for all of you who have reached out to myself and to my family in respect to my uncle passing. And that's kind of why what initiated this desire to talk to you guys today, to just share. I'm not going to go into the details of his passing and all that stuff. I mean, we can share other, but I do want to just, let's just step back. Coming back, I've had a lot of time to just sit and reflect. Well, not so much sit, but like at work, I do a lot of driving. So in my driving time, I get to reflect and just contemplating on death, and more importantly, on what we remember from those moments. And I was conversing with my best friends earlier this week, possibly today, but I asked, what is one of the earliest memories you have of going to someone's funeral or someone's passing? And he and I, we had the same memory. He doesn't remember so much going to the funeral, but he does remember when she passed away, and I do too. And when I'm talking about my great grandmother, which was my father's grandmother on my grandma's side. So, hold up. Okay, it's a plane passing by. I just heard something on this thing is picking up some noise. Hopefully you guys don't hear it, but anyway. But I do remember vaguely when she passed, and I do remember her alive. Well, if you can call it alive. She really wasn't that active. She was very, very, very well-to-do in age and just kind of there. But still, it was my grandmother's mother, and she loved her, took care of her, and my father respected her greatly. But at her passing, I do remember going to our little church at the time, and it was just a little old school steeple church, little benches. But I remember going to this thing, and I was crying. Not because I understood what was going on. I really didn't feel any sadness to the situation because I was too young to comprehend. But what I did realize is that my aunts were crying. My father was sad. My grandmother was sad. And it was me showing empathy. It was me being there for them emotionally. My family were hurting and in pain and in sadness, and I wanted them to know that I cared enough for them that I could also be in that moment of sadness and mourning with them, even though I had no clue. I don't remember feeling absolutely sad. I just remember I was crying because people I loved were crying. And that's one of my earliest memories on the concept of death, on the concept of, well, not so much the death, but just going to a funeral service. And I was what, maybe 3, 4? I can't remember that concept. Right, well. And then fast forward to when my grandfather passed away, my dad's dad. That one, I mean, I don't think anyone held back tears. Not so much. Well, maybe they did, but I do remember when I got the news. I was at school. I was at university, and my brother called me and to say, "Hey, just letting you know, Grandpa Agapito passed away." He can tell you he remembers exactly what I said. I wish I could tell you that I was a rock star and said, man, well, no more suffering, or, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, or something poetic or something deep. But instead, your man here, your boy here, on the phone talking to my brother. I'm like, crap. That was the depth of what I had to say. But I also remember I really wasn't stirred emotionally hearing that. I mean, I was shocked because it happened so fast. He went in, and as far as I knew, he was doing okay. But according to what I was told, Grandpa just decided, you know what, I need to go to the hospital now. He walked in, and within a few days, he was gone like that. It's like he knew his time was coming. He was 92 when he passed away, and he knew that his time was coming, and he was just like, you know. And so it was something very quickly. So it just came as a shock to all of us. As a matter of fact, we thought my grandmother was going to pass away because she had suffered stroke. She was going through a lot of things. She was like deteriorating before our eyes. And yet Grandpa was still strong as ever doing his thing. And finally he's like, it's time to go. And I do also remember that after several times when I'd go visit my grandma, and she was more not here than there. She was more there than here. She would just be sitting there quietly at the table. I'm talking to my aunt, and she'll just look up and talk to my aunt and say, "Ya llegó tu papá, ya mero llega tu papá." Is your father almost here? Is your dad almost here? Referring to my grandfather. And my aunts kept having to remind her, "No, mom, dad's not coming today. Dad's already gone. Dad's in heaven." And she would just go, "Oh," and just go back down to for about 5-10 minutes, and then repeat, like, is your father home yet? She was it was you get to see that, and she lasted about 2 years after he had passed, before she moved on. But anyway, go back to grandfather. I remember at school they announced that I would be leaving for the weekend to be with my family, and they all prayed for me, whatever. My university, I did go to a Christian university, so I guess it's the right thing to do, to pray for your students when they're going through these things. And when I was about to leave, a friend, Freddie, came up to me. He goes, "Hey, bro, just on your way home, just let it out. Do what you got to do, man." And it was about a 5-hour drive from Dallas to West Texas to Andrews, America. And I did, man. I did cry. I did let it out. Those times where I had to pull over at a rest area or a gas station, or just somewhere, but not too close to where people where traffic was going through, just to where I was just resting, because I couldn't see, and just no yelling, just tears, just letting them come, because he was a hero. He was someone that I loved, I admired, and spent so much time, and he was someone who genuinely loved everyone unconditionally, and worked hard for his family, sacrificed a lot for his family. and I honor the that legacy. And it's weird to me. I don't know why so much, because he's the only one that I cried for the most. Like, yes, when all my grandparents finally went, I was, I was sad, but yet it was more of of a we were happy they're no longer suffering. I guess because he didn't suffer. That's why everyone else suffered, so that's why we cried. But he didn't suffer. He just went at his time. He went when he was ready, and he went peacefully, surrounded by my aunts, my uncles, my dad, and my brother and some others. I couldn't be there because I was off in college, but I showed up for the celebrations service we had for him. And boy, did we celebrate. I have a lot of gifted cousins, and we did music. And matter of fact, my cousin Eli, he played a keyboard and sang, and I accompanied him with guitar and gave him second vocals. And then we had all the cousins kind of come up and make a choir, and we sang the one song everyone sings, I Can Only Imagine, in Espanol, in Spanish. But the best part, though, is afterwards when all the cousins got together and we were just sitting around each other and we were just remembering the stories. Everyone had a different story to share with grandfather. Everyone had a different joke because he was such a jokester. He was such a not comedian, but he was such a playful person and lighthearted person. And I think that was the best part, again, just to compare notes with all my cousins, because there's like 72 of us at the time. I'm not sure how many we are now, or maybe it was less. Maybe we're 72 now. I don't know. There was a lot of us. There's a lot of us. My dad had 8 siblings, so we have a big family. But I remember that in particular. Don't worry, I'm going somewhere with all this rant. I'm just sharing memories, because that at the end of it all, that's all we have left are memories. And I'm glad to have had pleasant memories. Why spend money to go do things with people if not to build memories, to build valuable moments that you spent with one another? That's one thing that I remember. And actually, those things you can do for free, or you can spend for money. Anything to do to spend quality time with people that I can have a story to remember them by, I'm willing to do. But anyway, there's other grandparents, and there's other people, because actually when I was talking, we also I remembered in middle school, one of my friends died. I can't remember vaguely if it was an accident or what was the particular cause of death or of a sickness, but I do remember that it impacted my entire school, my entire junior high. And I do remember that we did it at my dad's church, and it was exciting and strange at the same time to see all my friends that I know from school all come to my church to pay their respects to our friend who had passed away. And I also remember that a group of us from my church, we got together and we practiced a song from I think it was Michael W. Smith, yeah. And Friends Are Friends Forever. That's another classic song. If the Lord's the Lord of them, and a friend will not say never. I remember when we went to the burial site for my childhood friend. It's the first time that I ever saw them do like a tomb. Like, they have a box they bring down, and then they put the casket and they bring it down, and then they have a lid, like a Superman kind of. And I want to say they had like the Superman on top of it. They put a lot of money into this little casket. And I was talking earlier when I was talking to my best friend. He's like, dude, I just remember that he had an aunt who, as soon as they put that, she went berserk. She just like lost it, just crying, and it started like a chain wave of a lot of other emotions and people crying, and man, now I'm thinking about all these other deaths that come close. I remember one in particular when I was a youth pastor, and I'm not gonna mention names to respect the family, because I know they get on and watch my my show every now and then. But I remember this young man. He was it was an accident that happened in his apartment. And the other young man that was living with him was another student who went to our church. And we had just gotten back from youth convention. We had good times, and we created great stories. That's the first time we went to a Brazilian steakhouse where you get all you can eat meat. And I mean, my students were excited to have had a feast. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into all that, but I'm saying I remember forward. That was like in November, and like entering the following year, I was going through a moment where I was just feeling the desire to move on, to do something different. Like I wasn't enjoying life, well, not enjoying life. I was feeling the itch to do something else, because the pastoralship that I was doing, it wasn't fulfilling for me. And that's one thing that I share in my talk. You know, a lot of us go with plan A, and plan A tends to be the adopted plan, where we just adopt the ideas or what is around us, or everyone assumes that you should do this simply because of your giftings. But let me tell you this: your giftings do not determine your calling. Your giftings should not determine your calling, and should not direct your calling. Giftings come and help you out in other areas, but they are not that. Your giftings do not equal a calling. So just let that fester in your mind. But I remember I got a call from one of the parents of one of my other students to inform me that there was an accident, the cousin of the student, and that he was shot, in the head. But he was still alive. He was in a coma. He was in the ER. They were keeping him alive, or the ICU. And I went, and for about a week they kept going. And I just remember, like, everyone was hoping he'd wake up from this, but there was a point where the machine said that, or the doctor said that the machines are the only thing that's keeping him alive, and it was up to the family to decide whether to pull the plug. And it's a tough decision to make. And I remember being there and talking to him and singing and cracking some jokes and saying some things, because he would always talk to me after the services, and he would just like question and ask for clarity, and he was just hungry to grow. This young man wanted to know more. I mean, he wasn't perfect. None of us are, but he wanted something more. And when they finally decided to pull the plug, he still lasted like an hour or two after that happened before he finally breathed his last, because he remembered a message that I preached about. Fight. You got a call to fight. If God has put a desire in your heart, God's put a call in your life or a message in your life, you need to fight until God calls you home. And that passing did something to me where I'm like, who am I? I'm a fresh out of seminary student, and here I am doing pastoral work, and I'm losing students here. It was just it weighed heavy on me. And then shortly afterwards, I went to do mission work, and that's when I went to Plan B, where I just got busy to keep my mind off of that and other things. But I don't know why that moment of death just came to me right now. But that's not where I wanted. I guess the spirit of fighting, the spirit that looks as if saying, I'm still here. And I remember sharing afterwards and sharing my heart, sharing the adventures that we had together to the grieving family and friends, students that knew him and came to his burial. And I got to share in that moment. But back to my uncle. My cousin told me something that messed me up, y'all. It messed me up in a good way. And he said that when it happened, the night when my uncle had a heart attack, it was actually Father's Day. Well, so that was what, two weeks ago, give or take, 2 Sundays ago or 3 Sundays ago, and it was during the Father's Day. They had their service plan. They had their program that they do. Smaller churches, they tend to do this kind of thing. And my uncle was not scheduled to participate in this. However, he felt led to share a poem. And my uncle is phenomenal for sharing his poems. He had such a deep, soothing, romantic voice. And whenever he would speak and whenever when he would sing, he's actually one of the voices that inspired me to sing growing up as a kid, watching him go up to sing his songs. But he was, other than singing and his artwork, he was also known for his poetry. And he shared a very well-known poem about fatherhood. And it was during halfway, and according to my cousin, he's like, the deal is, he's like, he felt led. And then when he went up there to speak, he was just saying, you know what, brothers and sisters, I'm not on the program, but I just really feel in my heart, deep in my heart, that I want to share this poem for you. And who knows, this might be the last time I ever share this poem with you guys. Now, he might have said it lighthearted, but he was kind of prophetic. And this poem is about a father saying goodbye to his son, about saying his goodbyes to his loved ones. This poem was about saying goodbyes. And in retrospect, my uncle got to say goodbye to his church. And then shortly afterwards, he felt my dad said that at one point he kind of stopped and paused. And my dad thought, oh, did he forget the lines? Because my uncle never forgot the lines. Or he would just he had forgotten them, and he would just make them up or kind of catch himself. And then he continued on, and he finished the poem strong, and everyone knew it was just like giving them just the hallelujahs, amens, or well, actually in my dad's church they don't clap that much. And he got off, he went straight to my aunt, says, hey, we need to go to the hospital, and that's where they went. And I'm not gonna get into all those details of what happened to the point where he passed several days later. But it was a powerful thing. And then at his funeral, or at his celebration service, someone actually captured my uncle reading this poem live in church and saying his goodbyes on a phone recording, and they brought it up and they played it in front of everyone to hear him read a poem one last time. And man, I was supposed to sing right after that, and I had words, or that's a song that I'd never played before, but it was one of my uncle's favorite ones to sing. And I was watching it, and once my cousin said the story, and then I saw the poem and knew the significance of that moment of my uncle being able to say goodbye before, it just, I was so good, I was being so stoic, I was being so strong. No, at that moment I could not see my phone anymore. I could not move forward anymore. But the sister who was directing the service came up to me like, hey, you're next. As soon as the poem's done, go up there. We're not even gonna announce you, just go up there. And I went up there and I did my thing. It was hard. It was one of the hardest things I could do. But what a legacy, man. That's what I want to get to. What a legacy. I think back to my grandpa, who he knew it was time. He knew he had completed a life. He knew he had done hard work, and he's like, it is time for me to rest. It is time for me to go. My grandma on my mom's side, for years, she passed away last year around November, or no, forgive me, Mom. I forgot what day, but I got an emergency text message from my sister, like, doctor say everyone needs to get here. So I talked to the doctor, or I forgot what job I was doing at the time, and thankfully I was able to fly down and got there in time. And no, Grandma was still alive for a few more days, but it gave every chance for my cousins to come and be around her. And up to the last breath that she breathed at 4:01, I saw my clock. It said 4:01. Everyone, the worry, or the doctor said it was like 4:05. Anyway, and I saw she was just breathing, surrounded by my aunts and uncles, my mom, and just singing and just loving on her as she just. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful to be sitting in peace. But before that, my grandma was always saying, man, did God forget about me? I'm so ready to go. I'm so ready to move on to what's next in this life. So I guess what I'm trying to say is how powerful to get to a point where you said, I have fought the good fight. I have ran the race. I have been faithful. I have kept my faith. I am ready to go for when my Father says, welcome home. I can go in proudly because I did a good job. I am not ashamed of anything. I am not disappointed in anything. I can move on. I mean, I could do a little bit more, but I am ready to go. What a legacy. What a way to just be able to stand up and that final day and say, I did a lot. I did my part. And I can move forward to the next step proudly. And that just brings me back to us here, right now, today. There is nothing more sobering than knowing that you are going to die. You cannot stop that. We are mortals. We are meant to be here for a moment and then we're gone. What are you going to do with the time you're allotted? What are you going to focus on with this time that you have left from today until your last breath, from today until you close your eyes and you open your eyes and you are in another place, no longer here in this world? What will people say? He did this. Or can you leave this world knowing that you did good, that you left value, that you gave to the next generation, that everyone's better off because you lived your days in this time? You see, I've been thinking a lot about my situation and, losing the job and trying to find a new thing, new career path and all these things. And I've had to dig deep and say, you know what? My uncle was young. He was strong. He was active. He had just retired, 2 years above retirement. He was 68. And some of us we're already halfway there. And I was like, oh my goodness, in another 30 more years or whatever, we'll be there or older, whoever. And I'm like, you know what? What do I want to do? Let's just say, and I'm being conservative here and say, what if I don't have 30 years? What if I only have 20 more good years on this world? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to me. I'm not saying I'm going to go young or anything, and I don't want that. I'm doing my best to live long, live strong, be healthy, making wise choices because I want to be able to participate in this life as long as I can. But however, let's just go and say conservatively, there's only 20 years left to this clock. Do I want to spend these 20 years worrying about just surviving, or worried about watching this next movie, or worrying about finishing off whatever time waster that I can think of that I need to finish off? Or do I want to live life? Do I want to enjoy life? Do I want to wake up every morning with that desire to get up and conquer the day because so much good is happening? What life path we take is something that brings excitement to you, not something that brings you like dread. If you're waking up every morning dreading your day, then I encourage you to do a deep dive into your psyche, a deep dive into your heart. Go back to the little kid in you and say, hey, little kid, what was it that you used to love to do as a little kid? Because I need to be reminded of what it's like to look forward to something. I need to remember what it's like to expect the unexpected, to be excited for life, to live, to taste, to have adventures. And if what you're doing right now does not bring that excitement, then you need to seriously reevaluate where you're at, my friend. Rockstar. Because the rockstar mindset is not only I can get up and I can do this, I can get up and I can kill the situation. I will knock it out of the park. But the rockstar mindset is also that I will wake up early because my life is worth living. My life has a lot of value, and every day every minute I breathe, I am just constantly bringing something good to the table. So the rockstar mindset is I want to stay up as late as I can and wake up as early as I can because I want to participate in this life for as long as possible. And if you don't have that fire under your butt, my friend, then we need to start reevaluating where you're at. We need to start asking you hard questions. Why are you doing what you're doing right now? Is it just comfort? Is it just easy? Is it just safe? Because if it's safe, but it's getting you nowhere, then are you truly living? Are you truly exceeding your full potential? Are you truly maxing out what you can do? Or are you just hoping to hide and let this life leave you by? And then when you're old and decrepit and you can't even move, you need to depend on someone else. That's a leech mindset. Let someone else carry the burden. No. It's up to you to live your life. You need to take responsibility for where you are. I'm taking responsibility for where I am. I know the choices that I made to get here weren't the best all the time. But the beauty is, it's no one else's fault. It's my fault. So now I can take ownership and I can re-navigate and recalibrate and change my perspective and change my true north, my compass to a truer north. And I can say, well, for whatever years I have left, however many breaths I have left, I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to go hard this way. And I'm going to live my life this way. I'm going to be the rock star for as long as I can going this way, because this is what brings me happiness. This is what brings me joy. This is what brings me something that I can sing about, that I can dance about, that I can tell everyone, heck yeah, I'm doing this. And it might mean nothing to other people, but it means something to me. Rockstar, rockstar, rockstar. You are not just another participation person. You are genuinely a person. You are a unique person who deserves to live life to the fullest. Now I get it. If you have responsibilities, and take responsibility for those for those who you are taking care of. But also you can pour into them. You can give them the freedom to make better choices, to move forward, to do amazing things, not to live your life. Don't live vicariously through your children. Let them live their lives. But give them the tools, give them permission to grow, give them permission to fail, give them permission to succeed, give them permission to fly, baby, fly. And that's life. I've said it before, one of my biggest goals in life was to become immortal. To become immortal. But men are not immortalized by the great feats that they've accomplished, but rather by the people whom they've impacted. One of the best ways that you can leave a legacy worth retelling others about, leaving memories worth others sharing about, is to pour into others, is to help others, is to make sure others get ahead in life with whatever you can do, whatever ability. If it's in your right to do good, then do good. There's even a promise in Scripture that says, he who withholds from doing good, it's sin. If you can do good, do good. But also, do good towards you too. Do good towards you too. Don't forget to pour into you. Don't forget to respect you. Don't forget to love you. Because God loves you. Man, he's so in love with you. He cares so much for you. And if the main guy who created everything that we see and hear and taste and feel, if that person loves you, then why can't you love you? It says in the promises, because we are his masterpiece, fearfully and wonderfully made. You're not an accident. You're not just a extra. You are the main character in your film, in your story. And you need to get up and enjoy this life. Remember, death comes to us all. So stop wasting time. Stop letting distractions overrun you, because those who are overrun by distraction are usually because they are not excited about the life that they're living right now. So they would rather distract themselves from that reality that they're not where they want to be. So take ownership. Realize I am not where I want to be. I hate where I'm at because I choose to be here. But now, this rock star that I heard, told me and gave me permission to go ahead and try to work towards this. And even if it's just 5 more years of your life that you have left and you're working towards this, I guarantee that just the action of moving, taking steps by step to this better version of you, you would have lived such a life. You would have lived more in this 5-year span than you have had the 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years before. It is never too late to get up and move forward. So take these stories of death. Remember those who have gone before us. Remember the memories. Remember the good that they brought to you. Let them energize them. Let them inspire you. Let them give you hope so that whenever your time comes, you can say, I lived a good life. I did an awesome job. And I'm ready. I'm ready to see what's next. Man, that's a good show. Rockstar, thank you. Thank you for checking out episode 40, Random Thoughts About Death and Life. I am Josafat Emiliano. This is Miguel. You have been listening to Hey Rockstar. We are affiliated with Low Budget Productions. I'm not going to go into all the spiel. If you like podcasts, check them out. If you want to be in a podcast, reach out to them. If you want to do live stream, reach out to them via me. We'll help you guys out. If you have a story to tell, we'd love to help you tell your story. Other than that, I am about to cut this stream because we have meetings, long meetings. Y'all pray for your boy because I'll be doing some motorcycle riding this weekend. It's gonna be fun. I got my helmet, so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go let the wind go through my hair. And again, thank you all for checking this out. Thank you all for coming to Hey Rockstar. Monday, I will be back with a mini-sode. Don't know what it is about. Next week, we have an artist who will be interviewing next Thursday at 5:55. Do check out our podcast. We have all the previous episodes already out. Check out 39. If you are into the music industry, or if you are into church ministries, or if you're into any of that area, go check out Andrew Holt's interview. He drops some gold for you guys, some gold that you can take and run and help encourage you when you're going through that trial period of like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this season, but he has some valuable information, some great stories. All of my guests have great stories. I'm so glad that we have made it to episode 40 so far of Hey Rockstar. And yeah, I feel like I'm rambling now. So, let's just go and cut the stream here pretty soon. So everyone, thank you for letting us into your homes. Thank you for letting us into your cars. Thank you for letting us into your hearts. Once again, I'm Josafat Emiliano. Miguel's right here. And all the way from Nashville, we just desire that you have much love and many blessings.